Okay, Jacqueline, Miss Sandra brought me your pendant down to the lab here to analyze and take through the lab. Now, this side of the lab is all about Moldavite. We do multiple different types of analysis to validate our Moldavite. And then another part of the lab, we do other gemstones. But this side's just dedicated to Moldavite. And I can't take your piece through all the steps because it has the gold wire on it and the Herkimer here, but we can do most of it. We can do the fun part. Sandra. Miss Sandra's on the camera. She came down here to the lab today. She actually forced her way in saying, go do this now.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's been backed up. Sorry for the delay.
So the first thing we do is to look at the surface texture of the Moldavite and the color, the shape, the glossiness, those types of things. And these are things that people can do at home too. And we compare them to our Moldavite samples over here. All these have been vetted to be real, and these are actually fake Moldavite that Miss Sanders picked up for us over on the web. And so you can see, what the different surface textures look like. And we do compare them to this, and we also compare the glossiness. Now, this is a pretty glossy piece of Moldavite, but it's real. But it's nothing in glossiness compared to the fake Moldavite.
And the colors.
And the color's way off. But you can see
the color's better, but
you can see there's different textures and different, but it's a pretty matte surface. And there's all different
it's
types
like
of
satin color.
Yeah, there's all different types of surfaces. This is actually a pretty cool piece too. But all different kinds of surfaces, and the thicker the pieces, the darker it will appear, and the thinner the piece is, the lighter it will appear, because it's just the way the light goes through it. Okay, so the first thing we do down here is we look at the color. We often backlight these, and then I do some measurements and I weigh them. And then the next thing we do is we go down to this part of the lab, excuse me, and we actually measure the density, the specific gravity, on this kind of complicated scale. And density is like if you had a balloon that was the same shape as a lead ball. Obviously, the lead ball for that same shape and size would be heavier, that it would be denser. And that's what we look at on this piece of equipment. And I've measured a lot of Moldavite, especially from this region. And it normally is somewhere in the range between 2.27 and 2.46, with a target around 2.35. But whereas glass and some of the plastics, the glasses are much higher in density, and the plastics are much lower in density. But I can't do this to yours today, Jacqueline, because we'd have to take the gold full wire off and the Herkimer.
Well, we can.
Yeah, Miss Sandra usually gets pretty upset with me. Now I move down to kind of the fun part. Excuse me. This is. Can we slide down a bit?
Sorry.
So. I have some other pieces here from before. So this is a binocular microscope that projects up to this screen right here, so we can see it there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your piece under the scope here, and we'll see what the surface looks like. Okay, let me. So this is projecting up on the screen here. Focus a little bit. Alrighty, and if you look, let me turn the light down just a little bit. Oh, too far. You can already see bubbles in it. You see the bubbles here and here and here. A little bit of one here. There's a bubble here, bubble there. And these are bubbles that are really close to the surface. And there's some there. Are you following me, babe?
I am.
Okay, sorry. She's usually looking at the clouds, seeing what images she sees in the texture.
Well, once you dive in,
okay, so
it's more so then.
So this is on the surface, and what Miss Sandra was just saying was that we can actually focus the microscope in. But to do that, we have to wash this texture off so the microscope can see into it. And we use a fluid that has the same refractive index as the refractive index
that means, but it works.
Moldavite. Well, but if you can capture this as I'm putting it on here,
I am.
Now there'll be some debris running around, and yes, oh, check that out. Let me turn it down a little bit. There we go. Get all those white bright spots out of there. So you can see some debris floating around, but all of these bubbles are inside of your Moldavite. You see big round ones, you see elongated ones that are small. And I'm gonna be able to focus the microscope down in, and whoops, your piece, my fluid is running off. This piece, it has a little bit of an odd shape to it. So let's go ahead and zoom down in, and I'll refocus here in just a second. So now we're getting a little further in on this piece, and you can see the stress lines. Yeah, this is a very interesting piece of Moldavite. Big bubbles, long bubbles, round, fully round bubbles. Now, if you look at like this piece, let's just take a peek at this one, Sandra, and you can see that bubble right there is actually on the back surface, so it's not focused right now. And if I focus deeper and deeper and deeper, you can see the bubble takes a bit better shape. It's because it's on the back side of the Moldavite. So a lot of interesting stuff here. Let's take a peek whoops, sorry, I'm getting some exposure there. I'm gonna move this back.
You don't see it too badly on the video.
Okay, good.
A little bit, maybe.
You know, I'm used to looking at a lot of Moldavite. This piece looks awesome.
Yeah, that's too bright. There you go. That's about perfect.
So,
There's so much character to this one.
There is a lot of character, and I'm actually going to dive in a little bit closer. Let's zoom in a little further. And when you zoom in, you can actually see the stress that has been locked in place. All this, you know, it's not a clear piece of glass, and it's not just green glass. It has all this stress that's been locked in place. So when the meteorite impacted in Germany, and this material spewed up into the air towards the Czech Republic and northern Austria, it was, as it's flying through the air, it's cooling and locking gases in place and locking all the stress in place. So if we had a filter on here, you can see what's called birefringent stress. So a lot of stress in here. And then it has a whole bunch of other stuff called contaminants, which actually
extra elements.
This center calls the wigglies. So we have the wigglies all over the place in here. And let's move this. I'm gonna.
There's a really defined one.
Yeah. Let me move around a little bit here, because we're really hyper focused in. Oh, got up to the top of it. It's hard to hold on to this with your gold wire there.
Sorry.
I don't want to damage it, so I apologize for fumbling here. But typically,
it's holds faster.
My brace isn't designed. My clamp isn't designed to hold the gold wire.
You're gonna make everyone dizzy.
I apologize.
I'll just zoom off. We'll wait till you get there.
Yeah, sorry about that, babe. Yeah, so, okay, check that out.
Wow.
Look at my wigglies. Look at that.
A screenshot there.
Oh, you want a screenshot? Sure. Here we go. Capture. Let me get back there. That's an awesome screenshot. That's it. We can back up to here to live video. So I can click on the picture, or I can click on live video. So we're back onto live right now. But absolutely fascinating piece. Miss Sandra loves coming down to the lab here and checking out what we have going on. Ooh, some more wigglies. Hold on a second. Let me focus a little bit better.
Where?
Right.
It's so textured.
So right in here. It is. Look at this piece right there. And then right in here. So there's some other more technical names for the things that we're showing you, but Miss Sandra really
However you pronounce it.
Miss Sandra doesn't really care. Look at this piece. Look at that one right there. You know. So these were contaminants that were captured in the piece as it was cooling and forming into a solid piece. And you just can't fake these things. These are the things that you look for. And we often, what I do is when I'm here, I fill out this sheet. And these are the things that we're looking for underneath the microscope. The bubblies, the flow lines, and this is what Ms. Sandra calls the wigglies. And the density, so light to medium green and backlighting and front lighting and the texture. I also look and try to grade them as far as if they have chips or breaks on them. Ms. Sandra her pieces never have chips and breaks because she sorts them before we get them. Before I get them. Anyway, Miss Sandra will clean this up, and I will post your video. Hope you just love it. Isn't that what you say, babe?
Yeah, I do. Hugs.